Hello, everybody, and welcome to No Scrubs, the only video on the interwebs that guarantees to help you have the tools to have no bad hires. Of course, No Scrubs is brought to you by the great folks at checked.com. That's CHEQUED.com. Yes, Laurie, very interesting spelling. And of course, the people here at Fistful of Talent. I'm Dawn Burke, your fabulous host. I am here in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm the VP of People for a tech company here called Daxco. Today, we are going to talk about onboarding. So you need to go check out the blog post that was on Fistful of Talent called Your C-Suite Doesn't Care About Onboarding. And I have one of the most wonderful guests. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Miss Laurie Ruettimann. Laurie, thank you so much for being here today.
Dawn, it is my pleasure. I know we're going to rebrand the podcast today and name it after my dear departed cat, Scrubby. So it's the No Scrubs, No Scrubby podcast. It's literally true, no Scrubby anymore,
Yeah,
but also I want to be on a Scrubby podcast.
You're right. I didn't think about the no Scrubby angle there. But, you know, Scrubby, those of you who know Laurie, Scrubby is worth keeping in front of us for eternity, I believe.
Right, in memory, absolutely.
In memory.
So thank you for having me, and thanks to the great folks at Checked with a Q.
Yeah.
I know them very well, and they're
good.
Great people, and we appreciate their sponsorship at Fistful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'm going to give you just a little taste of Laurie, but here's the deal, my friends. If you really want to know what Laurie does, where she's going to be, what she's about, Google her. And you're going to see when we post this, her name. Now, her name, here's what you got to remember. All you great people out there. Just know that all the consonants, there's two of them. There's two T's and there's two M's, all right? So you can see it right down under there. Just Google her and you're gonna see her accomplishments are vast. We could take the entire show to talk about them. But I'm gonna give you a couple of highlights, folks. Just a couple of highlights. And Laurie's very humble. I know she doesn't like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. First of all, her blog is laurieruettimann.com. Actually, I call it a website. I think it's above and beyond a blog.
Thank you.
She's got like 45,000 Twitter followers. She's a great content generator. She's the author of the book called I Am HR. Laurie, are you HR?
Who else but me? Right. Why not me?
Yeah, why? Yeah,
bring it. Bring it, everybody else.
That's
why
right.
not me?
That's right. She's an international speaker, keynote speaker on all kinds of HR topics. I did say international. And here's the deal, Laurie, and this is something that probably a lot of people will talk about, keynotes and all these wonderful things. The reality, my friends, is that Laurie is simply a really good writer. You're a good writer. Yeah. And a lot of times people, they'll focus on if content is witty or if it's sarcastic or if it's, written. No, this is, Laurie's talent is, her writing skills are excellent. You're able to take concepts and really present them in a way that's very engaging. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I never wanted to work in HR. I only wanted to be a writer.
Yes.
And it turns out I'm not a great fiction writer, but I can write the heck out of a post about, applicant tracking systems and politics and create some sort of narrative. So voila, a persona was born and this monster was unleashed.
There you go.
So
that's right. Yeah. And she's the kind of person where if she was in your city, you'd want to hang out with her. I mean, first of all, you like the Smiths, right?
I do. True.
Check.
Yeah.
Like cats? Check.
I do. Yeah.
I know what else you like. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Don't tell my secrets.
Pumpkin
spice.
I do. Actually, if you read, just Google Laurie Ruettimann pumpkin spice, you'll get that. This came into Daxco today. So
nice.
All right, guys. So let's get down to it. Thank you, Laurie, for being here. All right.
We can talk about me all day.
That's
cool.
I know.
Yeah, right.
My mantra when people talk about me is I say, flattery will get you everywhere. We're good. We're good. All right, so we're going to talk about onboarding. Now, onboarding, I think we all would agree, is somewhat important, but does your C-suite think it's important? So, Laurie, let's just start there. Do you think that C-suite in organizations generally think a lot or care about onboarding?
So your CEO does not care about onboarding, but if he's asked, and I use the he word appropriately, if he's asked, he will say it's really meaningful, right? It's really important. He wants to bring people on quickly, efficiently, Dawn, just like your awesome blog post said, with great speed, align them to the culture and get them to be as productive as possible, as quickly as possible. But if you get your CEO at the bar, right? With a couple of shots of whiskey in him.
Right.
He doesn't give a rip about onboarding. He hired you in HR to worry about it.
Correct. Correct. And I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with it. Do you know what are some of the things you think, let's just say CEO for the sake
Yeah.
of narrowing it down to really the person that really we're talking about. Should they care about it though? Is it something they should even worry about?
Well, I will tell you, at a small organization with 10 to 15 people, you're a creative shop, you're a startup. I think a CEO might want to care about onboarding, but onboarding is just a reflection of sourcing, screening, hiring, and getting the right people in the right job, and making sure they have a laptop when they start and know where the beer is, know where the fridge is, know where the ping pong table is, and then everybody get to work, right?
Right.
But I think if you're a medium-sized business, a large business, and you have a competent HR department, your CEO should not care about onboarding. And in fact, if he's thinking about it, that's time and precious resources that takes away from helping the company be profitable and grow their margins. So if your CEO is worried about onboarding, you are failing as an HR leader. So maybe don't let your CEO think about it. It should be the last thing your CEO worries about.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair thing. I think sometimes we, heavy is the head that wears the crown. CEOs, big risk, but big reward too.
Right.
So they're getting paid the big bucks to worry about some real high level things. But I also think that we have to sometimes, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we got to give them a break. Let's let them do their job, and let's remove the obstacles that we should be owning, or maybe not own, but we should at least be keeping a pulse on, such as onboarding, so they can do the jobs they are paid to do.
You know, I often feel like HR professionals have this weird insecurity complex. And so if something is not blessed and just, praised by the CEO, then it doesn't matter. And in fact, I think it's the opposite. If your CEO isn't paying attention to you, you are the luckiest HR person out there, because you could do whatever you want. You're not asking for permission. You have a high level of trust, and you're actually thinking like a leader. You're moving quickly, you're empowered, and you're making great decisions. That's what your CEO hired you to do. You might as well do it. If you have a CEO who micromanages you, either your CEO has got a problem and needs to be coached maybe a little bit better, or you've got a problem and you got to look behind your back. So onboarding, okay, it's a great subject. Everybody is super possessed about it, and there are companies who are doing a really great job. You as an HR professional should go mimic those companies and then maybe report on it from time to time to your CEO, give them some data, some insight into what's going on, and then leave it at that and talk about bigger things like retention. Retention is the key thing out there right now. And it starts with onboarding, actually, but your CEO wants to hear about outcomes.
Yes, very good. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the top 3 things I want to know is if particularly not just under the umbrella of onboarding, but if you are talking about onboarding, they want to know, can you achieve the goals successfully?
That's right.
What is the outcome? So since we've talked about HR a little bit, and we've talked about the C-suite, who really owns onboarding? Who should own onboarding?
Well, the HR lady in me wants to own everything and
Right.
throw a party when someone joins the company. And I think that's really great. But onboarding is really a collaborative effort. It's like a highway with multiple lanes. You have ops people, you have IT people, you have a hiring manager. And I truly believe that you can probably give an onboarding kit to an admin and she can own onboarding. And I think ownership is kind of a stupid proposition. It's really about aligning your functions within an organization to make sure that people do the right thing when they need to do it, so that when Laurie Ruettimann shows up on your doorstep on day one, it's a celebration when I come to work, and not half a day in a dark conference room filling out benefits paperwork. Who does a really good job of this are our friends at HireVue. They really take the time before day one to get all of that stuff done and out of the way, so that when you come to work on Monday morning, you don't even come in at 9 a.m. because everybody's busy at 9 a.m. You come in at 11, you have a little bit of a party, you get your picture taken, it's a big celebration, you update your LinkedIn profile, and then you go to lunch. That's an awesome first day. I want to go eat Mexican food on my first day. Maybe have a margarita, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want.
Yeah, however, people are fabulous. So
Yeah,
definitely
they are.
connect with them, no doubt. And I agree with you, Laurie. I think a lot of times HR pros, like you said, the HR lady and all of us, we want to own everything. We think that's our value. We
I
think our
want to plan a
value,
party.
right. We think the value is in being the wind beneath everybody's wings, including onboarding. Reality is it should not, in my opinion, this is not a function of HR. The function of HR is to be connectors, to get the through line. They're the through line. But ultimately, I tend to think, and let me know what you think on this. I think people overthink onboarding. Don't get me wrong. There are some companies that have unlimited resources and they can do the 4-week deep dive. You don't start your job until you've gone through the 4 weeks of acclimation and drinking the Kool-Aid and all that. But most of us don't have that. So really, let's baby step it. Isn't it more important to get them onboarded on their own team, to empower the manager to actually own some of that onboarding process? Thoughts?
Absolutely. You know, I think about day one, and the person that your new hire should spend time with is not your HR coordinator. It's with their manager and their team. So it's all about getting them up to speed, whether they work in sales, making sure they're enabled and understand the organization, making sure they understand the product, or marketing and understanding the call to action of your organization. Whatever it is they're going to do for a living, that needs to start as soon as possible on day one. I think there's a challenge when you're a solo HR lady or dude, you know, you're out in Paducah, Kentucky or Indianapolis, Indiana, and you don't have a corporate infrastructure to help you. You do a lot of this work. You're ordering the laptop, you're getting the handbook out there, you're getting all the signatures, you're doing all the benefit paperwork. That's fine, but as much as you can before day one, get that moving so that on day one, you bring the employee in, you snap a photo, and the party and the learning begins. And that's where having a solid learning strategy and can really help you. And if you want to make a difference as an HR pro, focus on the learning strategy and the training strategy, and not on, I don't know, that new hire orientation where you put the PowerPoint up and you show a picture of the CEO instead of walking that person to the CEO's office and making an introduction, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, again, we're the connectors. Let's make an authentic connection some way, somehow. Somehow. It's got to be better than a PowerPoint. All right. So last but not least, how do you measure the success of your onboarding?
Well, I don't know. It could be, does anybody quit within the first 2 weeks, right?
Well, honestly, I think that actually is a measure.
There's no measurement of your onboarding, right? You can use a net promoter score, and a lot of companies do that. So how likely would you be to recommend this process to a new employee, blah, blah, blah. But I think just because something can be measured doesn't necessarily mean it has value. And I think the real true test of whether or not an employee has had a successful 90 days is whether or not, A, they're still there within 90 days, but whether or not they're performing, what's their total revenue per employee. You start to look at, I don't know, units of measurement that matter, and not whether or not they're still sitting at their desk.
Sure, agree. One of the things that I allude to in the blog post is I do think you're right. I think hard measurements are sometimes a fool's errand. I mean, what is the measurement of onboarding? So again, I'm trying to make it simple. Are they engaged? Let's do a quick engagement. So are they there and are they engaged?
I think that's okay. Are they engaged, or would they recommend their employer to one of their friends? That's another way to say it as well. But I actually, I think onboarding is incredibly boring. I like onboarding horror stories, though. I think the horror stories are the best. So I will tell you, I worked at this company in Chicago. I'll name it. It doesn't exist anymore. It's called Alberto Culver. Okay. And on the first day, they walked me into the bowels of the manufacturing plant. I'm not even going to work in manufacturing, right? And I walked past all the cool stuff that they're doing. They're making shampoo and body wash. And I'm like, look at this. No. I sat in a dark room inside of a factory for 4 hours with binders, filling out paperwork. And then as the new recruiter, I was told, by the way, part of your recruiting job is to do this every Monday with the new hires. I'm like, oh God, I can't last here. I lasted 19 months. Yeah. So I think onboarding can be, a leading indicator of how crappy your employment experience is going to be. So go, you tell me your horror story.
Okay, my horror story, now this is years ago, so it probably has changed since this time. But I worked part-time for a very large bookseller.
All
very
right.
large corporate bookseller. And there's perhaps a B at the beginning of their name.
Got
Right?
it.
And it was part-time. And so again, they probably have a high turnover. I mean, this was a, cigarette money kind of gig, this sort of thing. Don't smoke, by the way.
Don't smoke. Don't smoke.
It was movie money, right? And so my onboarding experience was very similar. And this is a fairly entertaining place to work, you would think. I mean, it's about books, right? Well, here's the good news that they were keeping with their, supporting their product. Essentially sat me in a room, and for the first 4 days, I read manuals. It was onboarding manuals. I was pretty much like, wow, you just kill me, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is not what I wanted. And then I'll say too, I did not last there long at all.
No.
Essentially, they knew nothing really about me or my skills, and what they had me doing was shelving books. Shelving books? I should have been at the register.
Maybe a bad hire.
Right.
Maybe a bad hire.
Right. Maybe a bad hire. So all that to say is that I think even the most well-intentioned look at it sometimes as an afterthought, and that also isn't good either.
Yes. I do have one bright note. Out of my job at Alberto Culver, I discovered that I have a love of clipboards, because in HR, you can't do HR without clipboards. And I kid you not, look what I have in front of me.
That's great.
I have our notes.
You know what?
But to this day, I'm still using a flippin' clipboard. All right.
Listen, you know what? You got to go retro. You got to
Totally
go old school.
Old school.
I just have all my stuff like just sitting around in random piles. So anyway.
I know there are HR pros out there under the age of 30 who are actually like, a clipboard is a really good idea. And I'm telling you, it is. It keeps you organized. And it gives you a writing surface.
There you go. Portable.
Portable.
Yeah,
Better
portable.
than an iPad. You can drop a clipboard. I've dropped an iPad. It's ugly.
Yeah,
So,
very good. The clipboard, what? $2, $1.50?
barely.
Very good. Well, Laurie, I just have to say thank you so much. This has really been a great conversation. Y'all go check her out. Again, like I said, just Google her. The rest is history. Where are you going to be next?
I'd like to say Paris or Aruba. Actually, that's not true. You know where I'm going? Havana. I'm going to Havana, Cuba with recruiting industry leader Jerry Crispin and HR legend China Gorman.
Right.
So check out my website for crazy stories about traveling with those two to Cuba.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be fabulous.
It's going to be insane. Jerry Crispin promised me mojitos at every meal.
Jeez. All right, guys.
See about this.
Check it out. You also need to check out China Gorman. You also need to check out Jerry Crispin. But for now, just check out Laurie Ruettimann. Thank you, Laurie. I'm Dawn. This is No Scrubs. Till next time. Bye.